My name is John Liapis. I volunteered for the draft in order to get in the Navy in 1943. They then accepted me in the Navy, and I went to boot camp at Farragut, Idaho.
Idaho?
Yeah,
Okay.
up in the mountains. So, in fact, Eleanor Roosevelt, I think, established that particular boot camp. So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, that's what I was told anyhow.
After you finished boot camp, where'd you go?
After I finished boot camp, then I I wanted to be a radioman, and they accepted that. And they sent
Radio man, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
They sent me to radio school, and that school was on the campus of Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. And I went there then, and I was there for, I suppose 2 months anyhow, being trained as a radioman. And of course, a radioman in the Navy copies the code, and you can also send out plain language messages, which is, during the war you seldom did that.
When you finished radio school, where'd you go?
When I finished radio school, then they assigned me to the USS Gleaves, a destroyer.
Which one?
USS Gleaves,
Sleeve?
423, a destroyer. That's the only ship I served on. I was on that during all the time I was in the Navy. In fact, I put it in dry dock after the war was over.
Now, what years did you go in again?
1943,
1943, and you got out?
1946.
Okay, where'd the ship go that you were on?
Most of our duties was in the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. The destroyers escorted convoys and did submarine chasing and stuff like that. That destroyer was in a number of invasions in the Mediterranean when I wasn't on it. The first invasion I went on was at Anzio, which was in 43. No, yeah, that was in 43. And then southern France. We escorted many convoys in the Mediterranean, a few out in the Atlantic. Then when the war in Europe was over, they sent us to the Pacific. So we spent time in the Pacific, didn't do anything, just the war was over by the time we got over there anyhow.
So you got out and where were you discharged at?
I got out in February of 46.
Whereabouts were you discharged at?
Well, I was actually discharged in St. Paul.
Oh, okay.
We brought the ship back to South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, and put it in dry dock there. And it never served. It was never in service again. They finally scrapped it.
Now, when you were in the Pacific, where did the boat go?
Our first stop was in Hawaii, and then we were in the Philippines. And after they dropped the atomic bombs on Japan, we went into Nagasaki, which was one of the places that they dropped the bomb on. And then, of course, we got liberty in Nagasaki.
Right after the bomb?
Shortly after the bomb, yeah.
Wow, how did people treat you?
Oh, they got out of the way. We were told you don't go on liberty by yourself. But two, three of us went, and there'd be a crowd of 100 people, and you just walk right straight, and they'd just get out of the way.
Anybody bothered to stop and talk to you?
No.
No.
They didn't want anything to do with us, actually.
How long was that after the bomb was dropped?
Oh boy.
A couple of months?
At least 1 month, but I don't really
Okay.
remember.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing there. It was all gone. It just rumbles.
So how far was the ship? Just offshore someplace?
Well, let's see, at Nagasaki we anchored, so then when they brought us in by whaleboat for Liberty.
Did you take any pictures there when you were there?
No, we weren't supposed to have any cameras.
Oh, okay, all right. So what did you do when you went to Nagasaki? Just walk around?
Just walked around, yeah.
For the day and then back to the
Yeah,
boat?
well, we didn't, I would suspect we were there maybe 4 or 5 hours is all. And then we went back aboard ship.
So the whole area you were in was all destroyed?
Yeah, there was nothing there.
So where'd the people come from then?
Well, I don't know. They were there.
And they didn't show any animosity? You thought they would have?
No, well, you wouldn't know. They just got out of our way.
Now, when you went to shore, did you have to carry any firearm or
Nope.
no firearms?
No. No, we just we went on Liberty like we normally would any place else.
Wow. And when you left Nagasaki, then the boat came back to the States?
No. I got to think about that for a while. We left Nagasaki when we were supposed to go to Australia. Instead, they sent us to Adak, Alaska.
Oh, it's the same one, but this
And we
one
went
is
up
like-
there, and then we were bringing High Point people back to the States to be discharged. We did that. We went from Adak to Seattle, I think twice, then once to Frisco, and then back through the Panama Canal and to Charleston, South Carolina, where they dried out the ship and left it there.
What was your function as a radio man on the ship?
Well, as a radio man on the ship, we stood watches, and they sent out what we used to call skids, which was what all in code, and that's where all your orders came from.
Now, did you have to learn Morse code then?
Oh yeah, we had to. We sat there, and they would send that out in 5-letter groups, and you just sit there and type those in, and then when you were all done, they'd take them and go into a code room
Yeah.
and decode it, and we never
When you
saw
say
it.
type, you were listening on earphones to the code and you were typing the letters?
Yep,
Okay, so that was your function.
yep.
Did you have to wear the earphones all the time, or did you?
When you were on duty, yeah, you did. That was my regular duty station. My battle station was as a pointer in a 5-inch gun.
What's
And-
that mean, a pointer?
Well, that's the guy that
Ames?
aims the gun, actually, but you never did that. They always had it on all 4 or 5-inch guns were on there. And I can't remember that,
Okay.
but it's an instrument that controlled all 5 of them, and they did the firing. You did. The only time I fired the gun was if it was loaded and they secured, and we had to unload the gun, and so we'd turn it off and just shoot, unload it. That's
Now-
all the time I know.
Do you remember the frequencies you were on? What HF frequencies you used?
Oh boy, no.
Okay.
I didn't really pay that. You sat down, that was all set up, and you
Okay.
put the earphones on and copied. So
Did you ever get your amateur radio license after you got out?
I thought about that, but I never did do that.
Okay. Do you remember any of the code today?
I remember some of it, but they recalled me for the Korean War. And I thought, if I have to go back and copy the code, I'm in trouble right now.
You got recalled for the Korean War? You had to go back in?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? How long?
Just a year,
For a year?
yeah.
Wow. And where did the boat go then?
Oh, we weren't on that. I wasn't on that. They assigned me to the amphibious forces in the South Pacific, and another guy and I became the radioman for the commander of the South Pacific.
And where was the location? Hawaii?
He wouldn't go afloat, So we were in Yokosuka, Japan.
You were in Japan at the time.
Never got out of Japan. I was assigned to a ship that I never saw.
But you ended up in a facility in Japan.
Yep.
Now, a lot of time had went by since you were last there. How much did things change?
Oh, now?
No, when you were there in 1950s.
Oh, there, the people were much more friendly, of course, but they still got out of your way. You know, you'd go on Liberty, and they still didn't. If there was a bunch of them, and three of you were walking down the street, they'd still get out of your way. But they would talk to you, and they were much more friendly than at Nagasaki. Why they were even friendly at Nagasaki, I have no idea.
Well, you can't blame them.
No, no.
How did you get notified to come back during the Korean
They
conflict?
recalled me.
By telegram, phone, letter, or how?
My letter,
By letter?
yeah.
And you had to report to where then when you got
I
the
had to
letter?
report to St. Paul.
Now, did the letter come from the local draft board?
No,
Came
came from
from-
the Navy.
Came from the Navy?
They talked me into signing up for the V6 program.
V6
That's
program?
what they called it. And the guy that talked me into it said, you don't have to worry about anything because it really only will guarantee you your rank. They can't use it to recall you. Well, that was a lie. Because that's what they used to recall me was the V6 program. And I did meet.
You know what the V6 program was?
No.
Okay.
I never went to a meeting, ever.
Okay, when you got called back by letter, did you have to go to St. Paul first, or where'd you go?
No, we went to St. Paul, and I thought I said, am I gonna go through boot camp? They didn't do that yet.
Yeah.
Just recall me, and I ended up being assigned to the amphibs, which I didn't like, because I figured I'm gonna end up the amphibs, I'll be up with the Marines someplace, you know. Well, that didn't happen either. And the commander, he just stayed in Yokosuka. They would go over to the war zone. He'd take most of his officers and they'd go for 3 days of each month, the end of 1 month in the beginning. And that relieved him from paying income tax.
When you left St. Paul, where'd you go, and how'd you get there?
When I left St. Paul, I went to Frisco.
Fresco?
Yeah, to Treasure Island, Frisco.
By train, plane, or how?
We went by train.
Okay.
Well,
And then
didn't fly. We went by train.
and from Fresco where?
Well, it was right in Treasure. We called it Treasure Island. They had a base there.
When you came back from the Korean duty,
Yeah.
where did you come
Came
into?
back to Frisco,
Oh, back to Frisco
to
again.
Travis Air Base, and they discharged me in St. Paul. No,
You
no.
took the train back to St. Paul,
Yeah.
and then came back home,
Right?
and
That was it.
they didn't recall you again.
No, no, no. Then my enlistment had expired, so they couldn't do it. So
Wow. Okay. Starting from the left.
we're aboard ship. This is a guy by the name of Bill Woods.
Yeah.
This is me, and for the life of me, I cannot remember who that guy is.
So again, without pointing, who's on the left?
That's Bill Woods.
And the middle guy we don't know, and
That's
you're
me
on
and-
the
and, yeah.
on the right.
Bill
there.
Woods and I happen to have been really good buddies, and that guy, I just don't. We're getting ready to go on Liberty, is what we're doing there.
Where was the picture taken at?
That was taken. Bill Woods, that's got to be in the Mediterranean, or it could have been in the Pacific, because he wasn't with me when I was recalled. So
Okay.
that's probably aboard the USS Liapis.
Well, you have any parting comments to make about your service time? Would you do it again?
Would I do it again?
Yeah.
Probably would.
Under the circumstances, yeah.
Wouldn't probably have any choice, but
Well, There's not too many people who went into Nagasaki a month after the bombing.
Well, that might not be absolutely right, but
Yeah. Did they give you any advice about radiation or anything?
no,
They didn't say anything about it.
no, no,
So you just, what made you want to go in? Just curiosity?
just curiosity, yeah.
To see around?
Yeah.
And then after 4 hours, you came back to the,
Billboard ship, and I've never had any ill effects or anything like
Okay.
that, so.
that's good to know.
I didn't, in fact, we didn't even think about that.
Yeah, well, you probably didn't know, they didn't know
No,
at
we
that
didn't know
time.
anything about it anyhow.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
too new.
No,
John, thank you very much for taking the time to come over here to do that.
that's fine.